way dinner connect that you are willing to come and see us this week. Thank you.
All right, War Eagle, y'all. My name is Cameron Stevens, and my platform is Catch Up with Cameron. I have 3 points: connect, compensate, and cope. And all of these are just an abundance of my experiences coming from high school to college. My first one is connect. I grew up in a small 3A high school called Strawn High School. I'm sure no one in this room knows where that is, but I had no kind of AP classes, didn't know what AP classes even were until I got to college. And as an aspiring med school student, I was very overwhelmingly underprepared to take on college. So what I want to do is I want to expand the first year experience. I want to make more learning communities for people from rural high school areas so they can be connected and plugged in and learn about the different academic resources on Auburn's campus, and also just learn different study strategies and tips. My second point is compensate. My parents told me from a young age that in order for me to go to a big school like Auburn, that I would need to pay for it myself. And so by the grace of God, I took the ACT 8 times and was able to pay my way here. But that wasn't the end of it for me. Whenever I got here, I realized that there were so many other bills to pay besides just tuition, and so I had to get a job in order to support myself here. As a student that's currently studying for the MCAT, those materials are between $2,500 to $3,200 just to be able to study. And as someone that's writing her own check, I'm sure you can see where that's a really big issue. What I want to do is I want to partner with the AU bookstore and do a buyback program. So I'll sell my materials to the bookstore, they'll give me cash in hand, they'll turn around and they'll sell that to the student body. We can do that with textbooks, study materials. Almost every single major on Auburn's campus has to take some form of professional exam, so I think that this would really benefit everyone. And then my last point is cope. Because I did have a job, a lot of times I couldn't make it to the SI and LA review sessions, which really hurt me academically. I tried to reach out to my professor and talk to him about it, and he just kind of looked at me and was like, "It's not a university policy, I can't help you." So what I want to do is I want to make being in the workforce an academic accommodation. I think that that's a big population of Auburn that kind of goes unnoticed, and those people that are working really hard to be here should be able to be academically supported. And finally, just kind of close with a little story. When I was in kindergarten, the newspaper came and they asked us all what we wanted to be. And my mom was reading through and she was talking to me about it later, and all these little kids that are so cute were like, "Oh, I want to be a police officer, I want to be a nurse." And then she got to mine and her mouth just dropped open because I told the newspaper that I wanted to be a rock star. And so I realized my mom kind of tried to let me down easy by telling me I wouldn't be able to be a rock star in that way because I can't sing at all. But I started realizing that being a rock star is so much more than just getting on stage with a microphone and being able to sing. And I think that we can make all of Auburn rock stars by implementing these things. And I want everyone to be able to leave this university knowing that they were prepared and have the very best education they could. Thank you.
War Eagle, everyone. My name is Braxton Rich, but everyone calls me BB, and I'm so honored to be running to be your 2023 Miss Auburn. As an Auburn woman, I feel I can be motivated by every line of the Auburn Creed. However, I did choose to base my platform upon the line, "I believe in obedience to law because it protects the rights of all." When thinking of Auburn, I think of home. Home is safety, protection, and feeling a place of comfort. With this core principle of the Creed supporting me, I hope to use my platform to bring a greater sense to the safety and awareness here on Auburn's campus. So a little bit why safety is so important to me. On November 5th of 2019, my cousin was killed by senseless violence. His bright future was extinguished in a matter of moments. He lived every day to the fullest potential. He was a member of the United States Air Force, and he was also having plans to come here to Auburn University. Being only a year apart in age, my cousin and I were very close. As a result from this personal ordeal, I have seen how there's strength in numbers and support, something that the Auburn family truly has. I pushed myself to use this personal ordeal to strive to bring safety awareness to Auburn's campus. Through my campaign and platform, Be the Light with BB, I hope to highlight 3 safety measures here on Auburn's campus. The first safety measure I want to highlight is Auburn Cares. So Auburn Cares is a one-on-one or individualized planning service that Auburn has with students and their families to help advocate for different planning and programs. The next safety feature I want to highlight is the Auburn Safety app. So this app is free to download for students and faculty. So with this app, there's a friend walk feature. This allows students to share their location with a friend and allow them to track one's whereabouts temporarily if you need someone, or to contact safety and security here on Auburn's campus. The third safety measure I want to highlight is the blue emergency lights. So Auburn has about nearly 200 blue emergency lights, or blue emergency call boxes, and when pressing the blue emergency button, it does inform 911 of one's exact location and informs safety and security on Auburn's campus to come there as well. So I believe in obedience to law because it protects the rights of all. With this platform, I can only hope that everyone's made aware of the safety options and resources to feel better safe, protected, and at home. I'm so honored to have been nominated to be running in this position and getting to share more about these safety applications here on Auburn's campus. War Eagle.
All right. Hey, y'all. My name is Nyla Blewett, and I am so honored to be able to be here with y'all today and sharing more about my platform. So my platform is called Banking on Blewett, which is, sorry, I'm hearing all this echo, which is all about advocating to make Auburn a more equitable campus climate by advocating to lower the overall cost of attendance. So my platform is broken into 5 parts, which are named after the mascot Aubie, so it's really easy to remember. So the A in my platform is for advocating for more affordable housing. There was a lot of concerns about housing and the ability to receive on-campus housing with the demolition of the Hill and the revamp of the Quad Residence Hall. So I really want to push Auburn to create more accessible and more affordable on-campus housing options so that less students have to move off campus to be able to have somewhere to stay. So the U in my platform stands for understanding financial aid. I feel like a lot of students here don't fully understand all of the resources that financial aid office has to offer, and also don't even know where financial aid is located. And I feel like a lot of times we see financial aid at Camp War Eagle and then never see them again. So really pushing them to be more visible on campus and to also have a student ambassador role so that you can come up to them on the concourse and say, I need help with this financial aid option or this scholarship or these loans or whatever the case is. The B in my platform stands for bringing tuition increases to a halt. If you've looked at the news and kind of looked at the Auburn Plainsman, you've seen that tuition increases have continued to happen year after year, and it's really detrimental to students, especially out-of-state students that already pay so much more in tuition every year. So really pushing Auburn to kind of put a freeze on that for a while students try to recover from the economic impacts of COVID and from rising inflation. The I in my platform stands for increasing merit-based scholarships that you can earn during your time here. Most of the merit-based scholarships that you can earn come from ACT and SAT scores back from when you were in high school. And we all know that your academic success during high school doesn't necessarily determine how well you're going to do in college. And a lot of students continue to succeed and even go above and beyond while they're in college. So I really want us as students to be able to have more opportunities to gain more scholarships and have more financial aid options through that avenue. And then finally, the E in my platform stands for promoting student employment. Student employment is awesome, and kind of as Cameron talked about it a little bit, I've also held several jobs on campus, and I want students to know how easy it is to get a job on campus and to earn money as another way to help with their financial aid options. So I hope that some part of that platform resonated with you, and you're willing to be banking on Blewett this Friday and February 3rd. Thank you.
Hey y'all, War Eagle. My name is Kate Preston, and I have the sweet honor and opportunity of running for one of your top 5 Miss candidates, along with all of them. The line of the creed that I base my platform around is that I believe in the human touch, which cultivates sympathy with my fellow men and mutual helpfulness and brings happiness for all. The overarching aim of my platform is to encourage unity across Auburn's campus between people that are involved in different organizations, between people that have different passions, different involvement, and that are involved in different majors. And then the second part of my platform is focusing on unifying different people on Auburn's campus that are a part of different generations. To go back to the first part of my platform, it's centered around the idea of life at Auburn. Life at Auburn, I've gotten to be involved in a variety of different things, from Greek life, I've gotten to be involved in the College of Engineering, I've gotten to be an on-campus peer tutor, I've gotten to be involved in various service clubs and church organizations, and I've seen that a lot of times people in all these various organizations are working towards common goals, but a lot of times they don't know that the other person exists. And so the aim of my platform is to bridge the gap between these different on-campus organizations and encourage the idea that differences aren't something that tear people apart, but they're something that should be encouraged to build together the one Auburn family. Some kind of tangible ways of doing this is I think that something that would be super helpful is implementing an AU Involve app, and then also having ways to have different people who are involved in organizations getting connected with people who are working towards these common goals. And then the second part of my platform is focused around the idea of bridging the gap between different generations on Auburn's campus. And so the heart behind this is that I've gotten to have great relationships with my students and faculty and staff, and also students and alumni. And I think that a lot of times students are prepared in the classroom, but they're not prepared as much for life after Auburn. And so to try to bridge the gap between that and to encourage more relationships between students and faculty and staff, that ultimately does prepare you most for life after college. And then creating more mentorship programs between students and alumni, because this also is what ultimately prepares students for life after Auburn. A little bit more on this, I think that there's great things that are going on Auburn's campus right now that have these that are bridging the gap between these generations, but I think that there's a lot more formal and informal ways that this can be done. Thank you guys so much for letting me share a little bit more of my heart for Auburn and a little bit more of my platform, and I hope y'all will partner with Preston this week.
Thank you to all of our Miss Auburn candidates for sharing their platforms. Will our treasurer candidates please make their way to the podiums? Each candidate will have 1 minute for opening statements. We'll start with Ashton.
Roy Eagle, for those of you I haven't gotten a chance to meet yet, my name is Ashton Dickinson, and I'm a junior here at Auburn, majoring in finance, and I'm running to be elected as your next SGA treasurer. Through my campaign and platform, Cashing with Ashton, I am focusing on bringing more awareness to financial literacy across Auburn's campus, providing more transparency for all financial services and programs offered by the university, and advocating for each and every student here at Auburn.
Hi, y'all. My name's Jacob Saavedra. I'm a sophomore majoring in finance from Fresno, California, and my platform is Saving with Saavedra. My platform really goes into starting out with personal finance and financial literacy, and following by me trying to help out all you students, really trying to work with all your financial problems and financial struggles. I really just want to work on, my story starts with my dad being a Hispanic immigrant from Guatemala, where he moved here in the 80s and always struggled with personal finances and financial literacy, and really endowed to myself and my siblings that financial literacy should never be a problem, and we should always work on personal finances. I also really want to work on trying to explore the programs that we already have in place within Auburn and really get more out to you guys, because you guys are the ones that can have these struggles as well.
Investing is when you put your trust in something. It's when you put something in because you know you'll get more out than you started with. That's what I want to do for you, and that's what I want to do for Auburn. I want to deliver for you every day and invest in what you need. My name is Vincent Indovina, and I want to invest in you as the next SGA treasurer. And I want you to know that I see you. I see your needs. I see your struggles. And I see that those needs aren't being met. And the reason for that is nobody's actively asking for them. I want to change that. My platform, Invest in Indovina, is about investing in affordability, accessibility, and investing in Auburn. I want to make your time here more affordable so you don't have to stress as much every time you swipe your card. I want to be accessible to you and work with you to find solutions to your financial needs. And I want Auburn to provide every single opportunity possible to help you. I'm fully invested in you, and I hope you'll invest in me, Vincent Indovina, for SGA Treasurer.
We will now begin with questions. When I ask a question, that person will have a minute to answer, and then we will have 45 seconds for the other candidates to respond. We will begin with a question for Ashton. What has prepared you to serve as SGA Treasurer?
Yeah, so prior to coming to Auburn, I always had like a lot of big goals and dreams for myself, but the two that I'll, give credit to this experience for is serving as a senator for 2 consecutive years, and now I currently serve as the Code of Laws Committee Chair. And through my involvement in everything that I've worked hard for and just serving this university and this campus so well, I feel as if I'm very equipped and very prepared to do this and serve in this role and in this capacity.
My preparation in order for this position really starts with being SGA Director of Financial Projects. So over the last year, working directly under the treasurer to go with everything that goes within that. And then furthermore, also working with the Auburn Student Investment Fund and being a member of Auburn's Honors Finance Program and FMA has always been a huge help in everything trying to further my own personal education within finance. And then also working with the Hispanic Capital Group and external group where I am able to work with other Hispanic students and work on personally investing and working on stock pitches in order to grow the fund, and then also doing the same thing with other students that are in Auburn's Financial Management Association.
I've served in multiple positions during my time here at Auburn, including currently being the Director of Financial Projects on SGA Cabinet, SGA Lobby Board, and I serve as an Involvement Ambassador. But the position that prepared me the most was this past summer, I had the opportunity to serve as a Camp War Eagle counselor. I don't think any amount of financial work will be able to prepare you for this position, because what it's really about is listening to the needs of people. Like I mentioned in my opening, what problems can we solve if we don't know what people need? I worked with so many different types of people. I worked with 90 freshmen and a staff of 50 people from all different backgrounds and experiences, and I know how to work with them. And that's what I want to do as treasurer, bring in multiple people from different backgrounds to ensure that I can serve you the best way possible.
Jacob, this question is for you. What can SGA do to better promote financial literacy on Auburn's campus?
SGA as a whole can really focus on programs that are already in there, so focusing on something like iGrad, where working with that, you can partner with other schools, including the Harvard College of Business, and work to get like a first-year experience program and try and get people to do that iGrad program for one of the days and really just focus on trying to get these things out to everyone within the student population. So focusing on all kinds of majors, not even just finance ones or people that are already in the busy 1010 and busy 2010 classes. So really just trying to do everything within that. And then also SGA as a whole, within everyone who's in there, they can really focus on just talking about it with their friends, because that's the way the word can get out, is if you're able to really focus on everything within your other organizations, because most of the students within SGA are already involved in other organizations. And so being able to work in these organizations and be a voice for them, be a voice for the fellow members in whatever club. So for me, it would be my Financial Management Association, trying to get everything within that. So if anyone had any financial struggles or didn't know how to do certain things, I could always be a voice to them, as long as any other members in SGA.
So this actually ties into one of the main tenets of my platform, Investing in Auburn, which focuses on financial literacy. I agree with what Jacob just said, mentioning the busy 1010 and the busy 2010 classes, but I believe the College of Business, being as large of a college as it is, could help other students who don't have the resources or are not exposed to classes that educate them financially, which is why I'll push for a 1 credit hour financial wellness class as opposed to the 3 credit hour option for personal finance, which may not fit into somebody's schedule, virtual financial workshops, free financial coaching / advising, and expand these resources to all students across all colleges so that they can have these resources and feel stable in their financial standing while they're in college.
So I can't speak for every student here at Auburn, but I know when I had the opportunity of coming to Auburn, and when I came in as a freshman, I really didn't know what it meant to be financially literate. So I think, causing or forcing like incoming freshmen to, undergo a financial literacy course or just implementing something into the coursework can also help benefit students here, and I think that's something that SGA can help do when it comes to financial literacy.
Vincent, this question is for you. Out of all of the things listed in your platform, what is your biggest priority and why, and how will you address it?
My biggest priority, I've already mentioned it multiple times, but it's listening to you. I say this in all my chapter visits, but everything in my platform is what I'd want the treasurer to do for me, what I would personally want, like Auburn rings, a personal wish, because I want more options for that. But I don't know what you need until I ask you. And I can't serve you until I know what you need by asking you. I want to host open office hours and be accessible to you and have people posted on the concourse, including myself, to hear financial feedback and hear what you need. I've mentioned this too. I'd like to model something after what the SGA president at the University of Alabama does. She does lunch with the president, and with that, it includes a dining voucher to get a free meal with the president to discuss initiatives and what they would like to see her do. Now, it wouldn't be the same name. I like to maybe talk money over coffee, and I think the SGA budget could cover it also. We had over $121,000 that wasn't spent last year, and I want to talk to different people to understand how we could best allocate that money.
Ashton?
So during my time as a senator over the past 2 years, and as now currently serving as the Code of Laws Committee Chair, something that I'm looking to really hone in on in my platform is providing more transparency for all the financial services and program offered by the university. Through this, I see a lot of fund requests and bills come across where a lot of funding is being allocated to organizations across Auburn's campus, and some organizations might not even know that funding can be allocated to them specifically. So what I'm looking to do is advocate for each and every student through that.
The way I'd start this off is by saying, as running for SGA, you are supposed to be a voice for the students. So the biggest part of my platform is really just trying to speak for the students as well, as Vincent said, because our job isn't just to, we shouldn't be doing this for us. I will say that I'm not doing it. All I want to do is really help out you guys and all of your personal financial needs and struggles, because that's what I've experienced with my family, and that's what we've gone through as a whole. And so really focusing on trying to get out there and really, listen to you guys. I really just want to focus on getting everything out there, getting all the information that you can possibly need in order to succeed.
Ashton, how do you plan to expand the Auburn Rings program, not just within the student body, but with alumni as well?
So one thing I'm looking to do is, network and connect with alumni and see just how like the Auburn Rings program was put in place, and have them reflect on their experience and give any opinions on how it was when they went through the ring ceremony program. But one thing I'm looking to do is expand the ring specifically in terms of males. I know right now we only have one option for male rings, but I know women have multiple options, so that's something that I'm looking to do through the rings program.
Within the rings program, I really want to focus on getting as many volunteers that really actually want to get within to sell the rings, because we aren't going to get people to buy the rings if we don't have people selling them and really going out there and making some noise. So really just trying to focus on maybe even trying to get multiple more weeks that we can actually sell the rings and getting more people to really go out there and work, because the more we do that, the better chance we have of selling rings. And then focusing on alumni as well, we could, I would think, to set up a newsletter and just, get the emails that the people have once they've graduated, and really try and reach out and say, hey, we're trying to get these rings sold, because it goes to funding scholarships.
So I want to take Auburn Rings to the next level. I wouldn't say it's a problem, but we need to see more people buying rings. And I think the reason we don't see the level that we see at Texas A&M with rings is because we don't market it well enough currently. There's nothing going out that gets people excited about rings. So as treasurer, I'd want an AVP of rings that's passionate about the position. And I'd work with the AVPs and the EVP of communications and marketing to release graphics, release videos that get people excited to buy an Auburn ring, that showcase the tradition and what the Auburn ring represents. It's such an integral part of Auburn tradition, but it's so underappreciated. And I think we could do so much more. And we can also provide more Auburn ring options that people will want to buy, along with promoting them better.
Jacob, how will you ensure that registered student organizations have adequate funding this year?
In order to make sure everyone has adequate funding, I would try and focus on getting everyone within SGA that is in charge of these programs and people that I can reach out to, starting out communication day one. As soon as we get these AVPs and the people that are going to be working with me trying to get this budget set, I really want to work with all the people within SGA to go out there and really get their voices out and say, you know, what do you guys need for your budget? Because obviously I wouldn't want to cut any funding for programs, because it can lead to better events if they were to keep having these events just like Heyday, trying to get more people, if they really need more funding, to really focus on that and work on that with them. Also working outside of what people within SGA, the students that go out and spend their time volunteering or going out to the events, seeing how we can make it better, really focus and getting sort of a poll and really trying to get these people's opinions and see what they want, and really focusing on that and catering the budget towards that.
I think it's really important that we fairly fund every single organization on campus. Every member of student involvement serves Auburn in some capacity, whether it's an SGA, UPC, Beat Bama food drive. But like I said previously, we don't know what people need until we ask. It's conversations we have to have with people in order to know what they want. When I was preparing for this campaign, I met with the president of BSU, and I sat down with her and I asked her, what would you like to see the treasurer do? What would you like to see me do to help you? And it's conversations like these I'd want to continue to ensure that we are fairly funding everybody. And last year, SGA allocated over $221,000, and we only spent $80,000. I don't see any good with the money just sitting there when it could be spent to benefit the student body.
So one thing I'm looking to do is really harp on transparency. When creating the budget, looking at the budget from previous years, seeing how much funding was allocated to each and every organization, seeing what was used, seeing what wasn't used. And that way, we can help out other organizations, or we can cut back on funding that wasn't used, or just things of that nature.
Vincent, as treasurer, how would you seek to advocate to administrators on behalf of students regarding the university's tuition and fees?
Common theme here, but again with the conversations, one problem I see, when progress isn't being made, it's because somebody's not trying. I was told once that the no is always in your pocket until you ask. So I'd want to sit down and figure out what people need and bring it to administrators, and once they know what the student body needs, they're older, they're adults, they don't know the everyday struggles of Auburn students. So once we figure out what people need and bring it to administrators, I think they'll be more willing to help out students if they know it's what a lot of people need.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes. As treasurer, how would you seek to advocate to administrators on behalf of students regarding the university's tuition and fees?
Yeah, so through feedback, taking adequate feedback from each and every student in regards to tuition, in regards to their financial situation, in regards to things that they may be struggling with, and then taking more of a holistic approach and having the right meetings, with administrators over tuition and fees, and just make sure we're doing everything possible to keep every student here at Auburn.
Working with administrators really focuses on getting, the administrators are willing to help us out and go into, hopefully be able to change things like getting these classes in place where we can have financial literacy and personal finances taught. And really just having those classes, we can talk about, being an out-of-state student myself, having to pay that tuition for coming from out of state is a huge deal, and I know a lot of other students could struggle with that as well. So really just talking to that, focusing on promoting the scholarships as a whole and really working with the administrators, because they are the ones who can really, working with us, make the difference to what we need for these financial needs.
We will now move into closing remarks. Each candidate will have 1 minute for closing remarks, starting with Ashton.
So through my campaign as SGA Treasurer, I'm challenging each and every one of you to reflect on your Auburn experience and think about what you're most thankful for. These experiences can look different for everyone. For some, it could be centered around their love for the classroom that prepares them so well to go out and get that dream job. For others, it could be the sense of community, that advances this campus and creates the Auburn family atmosphere. We all may have different reasons for why we love Auburn, but the ultimate goal is to leave Auburn better than we found it for the next Auburn men and women. So during election week, my platform is centered around financial literacy, transparency, and advocacy, and I'm looking to bring more awareness to financial literacy across Auburn's campus, provide more transparency for all the financial services and funding, all the financial services and programs offered by the university, and advocate for each and every one of you. So I hope you guys will join me on the concourse and cash in with Ashton.
To start my closing remarks, I'll say that my whole job here is really just to focus on you guys. So really, my platform, Saving with Saavedra, really focuses and encompasses that. And I want to focus mostly on personal finances and financial literacy as a whole, because those can take huge leaps and bounds and really just take control over your life. And so really, by me focusing on that, I really just want to help you guys out. And I want to know what you guys struggle with, because we can't fix the problem if we don't hear what the problem is in the first place. So really, just everything that goes in with personal finances, and then also just me working with you. If there's anything that I can do within the SGA budget, trying to get people more involved, really getting more involvement as a whole. And so really just that's the whole part about Saving with Saavedra, is focusing on financial literacy and personal finances because of everything that has happened within my life and all my experiences that I've had so far.
I'm ready to invest in you and invest in Auburn. I'm ready to see an Auburn that works better for everyone. Yes, my platform points may take time to achieve. Yes, there may be pushback, but you never know until you try. And that's what I'll do. If I think my platform will improve the Auburn experience for even one person, I will fight for you in what you need. I don't like seeing SGA, or I don't like when people see SGA as an organization that comes out on the concourse for 3 days and then disappears for the rest of the year. I'm tired of Auburn students thinking that there's nobody listening to them or advocating for them. I will be your advocate. I will listen, and I will deliver. I don't promise things just to promise them. With your help, we can invest in a better Auburn for every single student here by delivering a more affordable and accessible Auburn. By investing in affordability, accessibility, and Auburn, we will be investing in you. I'm fully invested, and this Friday, I hope you'll invest in me, Vincent Indovina, for SGA Treasurer. Thank you.
Thank you to our treasurer candidates. Y'all may now step down from the stage, and our vice presidential candidate can step up. Julianne, you will now have, whenever you're ready, you have 1 minute for opening remarks.
War Eagle, everyone. My name is Julianne Lozano, and I'm a junior from Winter Park, Florida, majoring in business analytics with a minor in finance. And I'm running to be your next SGA vice president. It is an absolute privilege that my Auburn experience has led me to have the opportunity to stand in front of you here today. By holding a seat on Senate this past year, I have gotten to see a unique perspective of Auburn's campus, and I'm excited to continue to make positive change for students. My goal is to make every student feel like they are represented by SGA and ensure that we are using our platform to amplify your voice. Specifically centered around the Senate, I want to promote an inclusive experience by facilitating legislation that will benefit every individual on campus.
Julianne, how would you define the role of SGA vice president?
So SGA Vice President means to me to advocate for every student and to advocate for the voice of the students. Also to make sure that senators have the correct education that they need to advocate for each and every one of you. Because if we have a group full of senators that really don't know what they're doing, then there's no point in having them at all. So I want to work to educate the senators, to have them know what they're doing, to advocate for each and every one of you.
During your time as Vice President, there may come a time when a senator needs your assistance in writing a bill that you may not agree with. How would you handle that situation?
I think that it's really not my job to speak during Senate. I can have my opinions, but every senator should get the help equally that they deserve. So even though it might not be something that I would want to do wholeheartedly, they should still have it on the floor and be able to debate it, so I would give them the help that they deserve.
With more than 30,000 students now at Auburn, how will you ensure that Senate is able to represent and engage the voice of all Auburn students with only 34 senators?
So I think that the special committee legislation is something that could be utilized during this term to be able to create committees that will be able to advocate for different groups on campus. Also, I would like to grow Auburn Answers platform to be able to give senators direct feedback, because there's not really a way now for us to get in touch with Auburn Answers unless we're going through cabinet. So getting direct feedback to the senators I think will be really useful.
Jillian, you can now start with your closing remarks.
Okay. I believe that unifying the student body with the help of Senate is the first step to continuing my goal, which is leaving Auburn better than we found it. I want to thank you all so much for having me up here today, and I also want you all to remember that I'm here and willing to listen and fight for each and every one of your needs. So this week, I hope you all break through with Juju.
Thank you. You may now step down from the stage. The last part of this evening will include hearing from your presidential candidates. Please join me in welcoming them to the stage. You will each have 1 minute for opening remarks. We will begin with Ryan.
Hey guys, my name is Ryan Hall, and I'm running to be your next SGA president. So, with all these things kind of being said, my platform is all about going all in for 3 main focuses. This means going all in for an inclusive student experience, unmatched tradition, and true governance. What all this means is pursuing initiatives that really are geared up to keeping students active on campus, and even in creating something new worth passing down to the next generation. So, I think that as Auburn students, we always throw around the word Auburn family, and I think it's time that we take ownership of our time here at Auburn and really create something, just like I said, worth passing down and kind of looking into the next season of Auburn. So thank you.
War Eagle, I'm JD Jones, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to stand before you today and potentially represent you if elected your next SGA president. Before I talk about my platform, I want to talk about my heart behind running. Growing up, I had the opportunity to attend multiple Auburn athletic events, including the Kick Six, traditions like rolling Toomer's Corner, or watching Auburn win the SEC for the first time under Bruce Pearl. What this stood out to me consistently was the Auburn family. This family is what has driven me to run to be your next SGA president, and our platform is set up around serving the Auburn family, both new and old, through just beginning, just belonging, and just believing. I hope that you will join us this week as we work to make the Auburn family even better.
We will now begin with questions. You have 1.5 minutes to answer the question, and the other candidate will have 45 seconds for the rebuttal. Ryan, the first question is for you. What area of SGA is the most in need of growth to better serve students?
Through my time serving as a senator, and even of course through Forum freshman year, I think that the time, or just kind of the thing that really is in need of growth and kind of fanning into flame, if you will, is the staff itself. I think that, looking at our governing body, I mean, we are exceptional students. I think there's a lot of great leadership. But even if you go to the numbers a year ago, it was about a 30.7% voter turnout. And I really do believe that there's a whole 70% of campus that kind of is, they don't really feel like they're able to take ownership and able to govern themselves. So I think being able to build a staff that really is representative of Auburn being a land-grant institution. Being a land-grant institution, it means that we have to strive to serve Alabama, but even as SGA, I think that means being able to do the same thing through governance. So that's what I believe.
I think one of the biggest things that SGA can grow in is one of the last points of our platform, and it's promoting cohesion with other organizations across campus. As we work to grow SGA, grow knowledge of SGA, and make sure that SGA just doesn't appear for a week and then go away for a year, I think the biggest thing that we can do is work with other organizations on a consistent basis to ensure not only that we're providing the funding that they need, but the support and the workforce that they need in order to be successful.
JD, as SGA president, you have a chance to voice student opinions to administrators, board of trustees, and the community. How do you maintain the diverse voice of the student body and ensure students are adequately represented when giving opinions from As SGA president, you have a chance to voice student opinions to administrators, board of trustees members, and the community. How do you maintain the diverse voice of the student body and ensure students are adequately represented when opinions from administrators may differ?
One of the first points of our platform talks about student inclusivity. And where this applies, once I would potentially get in the role if elected, would be to make sure I'm surrounding myself with a diverse student base. What we've seen in the past is a decrease in the past 2 years in our African American population, which has went down to 4.9%. I think the most important thing, if you're speaking on behalf of all students and aiming to plant seeds for trees that we won't even be able to enjoy, is to make sure that you are surrounding yourself with the entire student body and speaking on behalf of the student body that we want to work for the next 5 to 10 years.
I still think, kind of going off of that, really just encouraging that ownership. I think really hitting home the student body is being able to make people believe again that they can have a part of this. You know, everything from the Senate floor to the Board of Trustees boardroom. I mean, I think being able to convey what the students want and being able to facilitate that conflict is important. And I know I've had the opportunity to do that through a couple of different opportunities through University Program Council. You talk about programming, of course we have these huge ideas, and I think being able to complement the advisors and their support is really, really important. And I think we can continue striving to do that through SGA.
Ryan, what specific project or goal of yours are you most looking to accomplish in your term if elected as president?
I know I had mentioned it previously, but one of my main platform points is unmatched tradition. Of course, I know that Auburn is unbelievably built on the values and the things that have the stories and the memories that have come before us. I know my grandfather graduated in 1960, and he was telling me all about how his roommate got a different Auburn ring than he did because it was transitioning to the new name. So stories like those, I think, can still ring true. And I think it's time that we're able to tell those stories as well. So being able to bring in a brand new tradition that's centered around both sides of campus, whether or not you have Greek life letters in your Instagram bio, if you're completely independent, or if you're a part of that 70% that just runs away on election day. I think that being able to stand alongside your fellow Auburn man or woman is really, really important, and we can really work together to create something that we're proud of and something that really marks this generation of Auburn students.
I would think that in a potential term, if elected your next SGA president, my number one goal would be working with the Board of Trustees to determine our admissions focus over the next 5 to 10, 20 years. The biggest thing that we've seen recently is an increase of applications by 25% for 2 years in a row. That means that students want to be at Auburn and love our campus. And so working with our Board of Trustees to determine an admission rate and determine our focus of what we want our student body to look like, what we want our student experience to look like, if we want to maintain Auburn of old, a land-grant institution, or if we want to achieve to be some of like our aspirant institutions would be my number one goal if elected your next SGA president.
JD, what is your definition of diversity? And what are your specific, tangible ideas to increase diversity and inclusion among students?
So the first thing I'd like to talk about in my idea of diversity, and the experience I have here is my first year in Senate, I was able to work on our DEI committee within Senate. And after sitting in that committee for a year, I quickly realized that this committee was in a box. And being in a box, diversity, equity, inclusion can do nothing. And so what we were able to work to do this year is to make sure that there is a DEI senator in each committee, ensuring that our processes were diverse, equitable, and inclusive. So being a part of SGA potentially as your next SGA president, I would want to do the exact same thing to make sure that diversity is not in a box and that we are able to represent a diverse student body.
Looking at diversity, I know that the numbers are around 18% as far as the diversity goes here. I know we're 82% whites. Of course, we are PWI. But I do believe that kind of being able to forge into a new season of diversity, I know that we talk about DEI, and I think fanning into flame a new season of DEI would look like establishing those relationships, because you can't serve your fellow students without being in the room and being willing to listen without taking action first. And I know for me, even being in the room, for example, at a BSU meeting, I know that there was a panel of students and their stories of these individuals walking down Magnolia and them, people rolling down their windows and yelling at them. And I mean, of course, I'm fortunate enough to never have been able to experience that, but I would never know anything about that if I was unwilling to be in the room.
Ryan, as you lead a team of 150 plus individuals, what are your specific strategies and measures you will use to manage your team?
Of course, we talk about leadership. Leadership is a huge thing. And I know I had mentioned it previously, my time kind of serving in the University Program Council as a finance director, assistant finance director, on the Tiger Knights committee. But I know being able to lead that committee has been huge. And of course, there might be some members in the room I can kind of recognize. But for example, the Magnolia Ball, I don't know if many of you have heard of it, but that's one of the projects that I was able to spearhead. And I think being able to take those leadership skills that I've learned through that process, even the community of being able to stand next to your fellow Auburn leader and learning what it means to fight for projects and initiatives that really matter, I think that's huge. And so even with SGA, being able to grow and being able to advance yourself and pour in to your fellow senators or your fellow SGA members will be very, very important. Because if we're unwilling to do that ourselves, how can we do that for our students around us outside of the Senate floor?
Yeah, I've definitely been really blessed to have the opportunity this year to serve as the pro temp of Senate and we work right under our vice president to run our meetings, to lead our committee chairs. And the number one thing that I've found as we went through our interviewing process was that you need to surround yourself with individuals that truly love Auburn and don't love the organization of SGA. The reason I'm running for SGA president is because I truly love the Auburn family and want to serve it. And so as I think about a potential term as SGA president, the only way I could be successful was if I surrounded myself with people that truly loved Auburn.
JD, what do you foresee as being your biggest challenge if elected?
I think that the biggest challenge that I could face if elected was our first platform point, which is increasing student inclusivity. This one kind of hits close to home as I've had conversations with multiple people from different backgrounds across Auburn's campus. The place that we'd like to start is offering inclusive housing for students. So whenever you're filling out your on-campus housing application, you're able to live with people that come from a similar background to you, so Auburn immediately feels like home. The next step is recruiting a diverse high school. So that means working with our board of trustees to make sure that we're hitting all high schools across the state of Alabama, not just our big feeder city schools. And the last one is promoting what those students do once they arrive to campus. The more and more that we promote what students do once they get to Auburn, the awesome things that Auburn students do while they're here, the more this place feels like home to somebody that it might not have previously.
I think one of the biggest challenges, kind of envisioning the role, I think it's very easy to be, and even to be fortunate enough to serve in SGA, but I think it's kind of a place of, it's almost complacent to kind of still dwell on the initiatives that are. And I think that one of the biggest challenges is bringing a new conversation and new projects and ideas before the Board of Trustees and even with your fellow students, because I know that naturally there'll be a lot of pushback, but I think that's what makes you successful. And I think being able, again, to facilitate that conversation would probably be the biggest challenge. I think you even go back to that 70%. I know that the feedback that I've gotten, those new ideas is something that's really going to be worth fighting for, and I think it's worth listening to.
We will now go into closing remarks. Ryan, you have 1 minute.
I think as we all sit in the room and we kind of think about just any SGA role as a major candidate, even being able to stand on stage next to my man JD here, it's crazy to think how far we've all come. But with all that being said, I think that even the role of SGA president, it's not a position to serve, or it is it's a position to serve, not one to win. And I think once we create the focus and refocus ourselves on establishing those relationships, and then we decide to take action and really stand alongside each other, I think that's what's going to make us successful. So when we go haul in, we're reaching across campus different sides and really making sure that people don't just look at SGA again as it's just on election day, that we're present and we're in the room and we're available, not just sitting in the involvement suite. We're available in many other terms, in many ways. Thank you.
In closing, I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight. I'd like to thank SGA, thank Jake for hosting us. I'd also like to thank the Auburn family's continual effort to push us to new heights. This Auburn family is why I'm running to represent you here today. I invite you all to come be with us in the concourse this week and truly decide to begin, belong, and believe. In closing, I want to end with a quote from President Duncan to the graduating class of 1936 of API. "We believe in the Auburn spirit and the Auburn traditions. These have grown up with the years and have a real meaning to the students and faculty, a meaning which grows stronger as time passes." Here, 86 years later, our campaign is running because we truly believe in Auburn. We would appreciate your support and choose to just be on February 3rd. Thank y'all.
That concludes tonight's debate. Thank you to all of the candidates for participating and running safe campaigns to engage their peers. On behalf of SGA Elections, I want to thank all of you who are attending in person and watching at home that tuned in to the debate tonight. Thank you to Eagle Eye TV for their willingness to come and put on a fantastic production for us. Please make sure your voice is heard on voting day by voting. Friday, February 3rd at aub.ie/SGA vote from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Check out the Auburn SGA social media pages for information on each candidate and how to vote. Thanks again, and War Eagle.